That's the 40-yard line, or in this case for the Eskimos this year, 4-0. That's their record. If you look down there, it's the 30-yard line, 3-0. That's what the Calgary Stampeders are right now. Two unbeaten teams. Dave, it's a perfect match at the Commonwealth Stadium. Throw in the 50-50 draw that could be worth upwards of $200,000. Hopefully the weather holds. It's going to be a great night at Commonwealth.
And the quest to be 10 yards up at 5-0, hopefully by the end of the game on Thursday night. You know, I know the Eskimos are kind of, and both teams actually, because I've heard some stuff out of Calgary, both teams are kind of downplaying this game because maybe it's so early in the season, and maybe it's because you want that focus of that weekly focus. It's the best game, or the next important game is your next game. But it's a rivalry game, and it's actually a game where both clubs, and I speak more of the Eskimos and the Stampeders because they've been very consistent over the last number of years, but the Eskimos are a very good football team, Stampeders very good football team, and we got a matchup of undefeateds, and you know what? The Eskimos win, they got early control of first.
Injuries are going to be a factor for both teams. The Eskimos lost another guy last week in Winnipeg. Marcus Howard broke his thumb. He's now on the 6-game injured list. The Calgary Stampeders have now placed most outstanding player from last year and top Canadian John Cornish on the 6-game injured list as well with a concussion problem. Both teams are going to miss those guys, but Calgary especially is going to miss John Cornish.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, I know Calgary has been still sticking with their run game with Matt Walter and Jock Sanders, but you know, they're not as impactful as John Cornish. They've been good, but they're great when they have number 9 in their lineup. But the Stampeders got on them doing the right thing, and John Cornish suffered the setback, and now he's on the 6-game list, like you said, and you know, they got to do whatever they can to get him healthy from that concussion. Marcus Howard had a pretty good year last year, you know, and unfortunately it was a broken thumb, and you don't plan for those, you never plan for injuries, but thankfully their depth has come through with Willie Jefferson, who will now make his first career CFL start. He's played very well, and Cam Sheffield will come off the practice roster onto the starting roster, so we'll see what happens.
Both these teams' defenses have been lights out this year. They've both been impactful. They've both been dominant at a time. So I guess, Dave, when you think about it, it's up to the offenses. One of these offenses has to find a way to score some points.
Yeah, and you look at the Eskimos, and they're a great second-half team. They're not a very good first-half team. And what we saw last week is they were able to move the ball better in the first half. I think the best that they have moved it since probably BC in week 1. But they weren't able to score in the red zone. They're the 8th best team in the red zone. That's not good enough. For Calgary's sake, they obviously want to get back to where they were with Toronto when they really dominated the Argos. Last week was a 10-7 win over Hamilton. That was surprising, but you know that offense is too good, led by offensive coordinator Dave Dickinson. So, but we got a cat and mouse matchup, I think, tomorrow, from Dave Dickinson, offensive coordinator, to defensive coordinator, of course, the head coach in Chris Jones.
It's a great place to watch a football game. You got two undefeated teams, the Eskimos at 4-0, the Stampeders at 3-0. You got a chance to win $200,000 about in the 50-50 draw. Why wouldn't you be here? The Eskimos and the Calgary Stampeders. We've got the game for you on 6:30 CHED. It's a 5:30 pregame show, 7 o'clock kickoff. I got to go get a 50-50 ticket.
Split the winnings with you.
No.